unknowns. Scripture says you'll always be a fool, but sometimes when you're excited.
Sagittarius, this is your April 2016 love and partnership reading as well as general forecast. We're starting with your love and partnerships. The first card that comes up says heart-to-heart conversations. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. If I'm not mistaken, this card came up last month as well, and if I'm also not mistaken, last month Sagittarians reached that fork in the road where that thing that you've been holding close to your heart now needed to be presented to the people around you. Now this card is saying that obviously more needs to be discussed. Whoever you've told what it is you want to do, what your plan is, what your goal is, what your dream is, there needs to be more discussion about it. You may feel as if you've laid it all on the table, but they need to speak to you. So sit them down and have that heart-to-heart discussion. Clear the air and find resolution here. Tell the person what's in your mind and in your heart so they can better understand your motivation. The next card that comes up says, free yourself. It's time to take back control of your life. So no doubt this goal or dream that you've had is something that's completely against what you're doing. Not against, those are the wrong words, but it's not what you're doing at the moment. It's something new. And for those of you that are tempted to stick with what it is you were doing because you now don't want to deal with the fallout, this is saying it's controlling you and that you need to get that control back again by doing what your heart really wants to do. This card speaks about the fact that when you're doing something that your heart is not in, you actually lose the ability to feel properly. You lose the ability to love properly even. Everything becomes numbed until you get back that control, until you get back what your heart and soul wants to do. The final card says it's worth waiting for. Divine timing is at play here. And in your love life. So this is affecting your love lives. Whether this is a practical decision and has to do with career or where you live or whatever it is, it's affecting your love life. And whatever it is that you're now wanting to honestly, truly do, it was worth waiting for. You may have felt you've waited too long for it, but the end result is well worth it. And to keep that in mind throughout this reading now, because you see your general forecast is entangled in your love and relationships reading. Your guidance that comes up says you've been carrying a burden. And we've pretty much figured that out in the last few months. Whatever it is that you've been really, really wanting to do, the fact that you're not doing it has become a burden to you. It's become a source of almost deep unhappiness for you. The next card says, but you've now been given the key, or you will be given the key with the answer if you haven't already, how to move forward. It is there. It's in front of you. Use that answer. Use that key to move yourself forward. Now, the final card that comes up in your guidance for love and partnerships is from a new deck I'm using. Beautiful cards, these. And this card says, love cures people, both those who give it and those who receive it. So, at the end of the day, love will win the day. And that's going to play out differently for each one of you, but remember that. True love will win the day. However you see this true love being in your life at the moment, however it's playing out in your life at the moment, that is what will win the day. Now we move on to your general forecast, and I'm doing another different reading this month because last month we now dealt with the 2 eclipses. We hopefully got you out of your rut you were stuck in. Now we're looking at where have you landed. This is your landing pad, and what does it look like? So this card says, where to next from the landing pad. Now this card says, to the sea. I have a feeling you guys landed a little bit at sea after those 2 eclipses. You're feeling a bit lost now, or as if you're drifting a bit. You might have now presented this grand idea, this plan, this whatever you want to do. And now you're thinking that, well, now what next? You know, you've been anticipating this big move for so long that the next move probably hasn't entered your mind yet. So the challenge that comes up is that you do have that inner strength. You do have what it takes to move forward. It says, don't judge, have compassion, but move forward with quiet, determined strength. Now, what you might be dealing with here is reactions from other people. It might be a bit much for you to deal with. You might be feeling like backtracking a bit. You might maybe getting angry. You might be getting judgmental. This card is saying, don't do that. Rely on your inner strength. Understand that people will have their reactions. They will be fear-based. They will be scared of losing you. They will be scared you're going to move out of their orbit, whatever the case may be. But deal with this compassionately. They will get over it. They will see this is the best for you and for them. But you will need to rely on your inner strength here. The next step, this card says, is to accept the fact the past is now done and dusted. What you were doing, it has reached its conclusion. It is over. So if there's the temptation to cling to the past, here comes the advice: you can't. There is nothing to cling to any longer. You cannot cling to the past. It says you have reached a crossroads. Make thoughtful judgments and then make confident choices. You have a new beginning and a new direction. Now the outcome card, let me use my favorite word, is interesting. You're going to have a revelation. Someone's going to say something, or you're going to discover something. It's going to come as a big surprise. It may not be the most comfortable surprise, but understand this. Trust the process of discovery and accept that all information arrives with divine timing. You are supposed to hear this now for the end result that it's going to have, okay, which is going to play out differently in all of your lives as well. It says be versatile in your thinking as the information is revealed to you, because it actually opens a doorway. Step through that doorway and see where it takes you. It says bold resolution and clarity without judgment is how you will take your actions, how you will take your best actions. So do that. So stick to that resolution. Think clearly. Take action. Now your guidance card, the first one comes up, says again activation. This card comes in when one has been sort of hesitating making that forward movement. And this card says it's actually past the time. You need to make that forward movement now. What happens when we don't make forward movement is we get that famous little boot up the ass from the universe. It's better that we make that forward movement ourselves. The next card that comes up for guidance says there's blessings at the end of this storm. So there is blessing waiting at this. There might be difficulties, there might be challenges. You may have to wade through what happens now, but there's blessings at the end of this. Then it says, go with the flow. Change is never easy. Change is always uncharted territory. It always makes us feel a bit uncomfortable, and we always have that slight thing of wanting to move back to where it was more comfortable. This card saying is go with the flow. Pay attention, because you will be given indications all along the way of where to and how to. Now your soul path card is that of the chickadee. And this says you need discernment of the right action. So once again, you need to think clearly without judgment, without guilt and fear as well. Think clearly how to make your moves. It says pure thought and fearlessness are what you're going to need here. It says you have a plan to fulfill. So this is all on your journey. It's your destiny. You need to be doing it. Observe a way in, find that way in, and move with it. It says let your actions do the talking and finish what you started. The next card that comes up for your soul path says it's spring equinox. So this is saying you have now moved through the winter and now spring is breaking and there's new life beginning. There's a new start beginning. It's that first movement, that first growth that happens. As I've said in your reading now a little while back, this is not always comfortable, but know that spring is now breaking through. That first growth is coming in. And then the final card is sanctuary. It says within your heart a space of regenerating sanctuary awaits. What this card suggests is when the going gets tough, when you feel torn, when you feel unable to move forward, when you feel there's too much input, when you feel like you want to go one way and everyone else is wanting you to go another way, go within. Find that quiet place within you and go there. The best way to do this is to find a quiet place in your garden or in nature somewhere, or even if you're in your home, but outside is better. But for those of you living in cold, snowy temperatures, you probably can't do that at the moment. Find a quiet place. Go sit there and just go within to that very quiet place within yourself, because you will get the guidance and the direction, and you'll find peace there that will help you with this big change that you guys are making. Right, Sagittarius, so that is your April 2016 reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching this.
Too good for you, so pony up your pennies to make a nickel dime. It all adds up to this. You've seen it on the pictures on the news. The light is all but faded into June. The hypocrisy just fades until it's nothing. The hypocrisy just fades until it's nothing. You've seen it on the pictures on the news. And how can it be anything you ever